Hey guys, it's Bert from Season Gaming, and I have something fun for us today. So I have the MayFlash Magic NS wireless controller adapter. What is this, why do you care, and is it important to you in any form whatsoever? So this is a wireless USB dongle that is said to actually give wireless and wired capabilities to your Nintendo Switch, PC, and funny enough, here at the very bottom, which you can barely see, it also says PS3. So if you're one of the folks that is still on the PS3 and is wanting to use some older controllers or even newer controllers, this item is for you. Now this item can be found on Amazon for about $25. I personally found it on eBay for $19 shipped. It did come from China. I have no idea where the seller was coming from on Amazon, but it did take about a week and a half to get to me. So I wanted to give it a try, and so to give a little bit more details as to what it does. So I did mention Nintendo Switch, wireless capability with other controllers on PC. So if you're a PC gamer and don't want that wired feeling to it, this one might be for you. And for PS3 owners, like I said, this works. So which controllers work? So the PlayStation 4 controller, Xbox One controller, the Xbox 360, if it is the wired version. Now you cannot use the wired adapter and then have a wireless controller. That will not work on this. That's kind of unfortunate. But it also allows for Joy-Cons and the Pro controllers to work on PC. So you have a lot of different options. Why does this matter as far as a cost perspective? So this one right here runs you around $79. I have seen it on sale for $69. But if you're a multiplayer person and you're wanting to have friends over, and maybe you only have 2 of these or maybe this and just this one, and you need a 4th to play, this is going to come really in handy. Or let's say you're a Nintendo Switch fan, but you don't like any of the controllers that Nintendo makes, so you want to use maybe your PS3 controller to kind of come into effect with things. Maybe you want to use your PlayStation 4 controller to kind of play on the Switch. Or maybe you're more of a Microsoft guy and you want to use your Xbox One controller on the Switch. A lot of different scenarios that we're going to kind of tackle today, and we're going to unbox this and actually give it a try and see if it actually works the way it's advertised. So let's go ahead and open this thing up and let's see what we're working with here. Once again, this is not some high piece of hardware that's going to give us something amazing, but it is pretty cool nonetheless. So what do we have here? So we have a mapping for all the buttons from a Switch perspective. So you have kind of like the buttons on the top and from each individual controller, and then how this will map to the PC as well. So kind of neat. And here it even gives you the ability to capture. So if you're playing on the Switch, you have kind of the breakdown on how all these are going to capture when you use the other controllers. So let's get the Nintendo stuff out of the way, since we're not going to be looking at that anyways. And let's see what else we got. So we got some paperwork for troubleshooting. So all the different indicators on how this is going to work. And we have the ability to update. So this thing does come with an update, I believe, if you need it. I have not seen too many issues with this in the comments, but so let's see what it is. So pretty straightforward, not really anything else to it. So let's give this a try here. We're going to be running 2 different screens. One's going to be the actual Switch, and the other one's going to be us plugging this in here. Okay guys, so I have everything pretty much set up in the way we want it to look, and we have the Nintendo Switch right here. I'm going to move it here just to the left. We have our dongle outside of it. Want to mention a few things about the lights. We have 3 different LEDs, and there's even a new one that's a purple light that shows up, but we'll talk about that one a little bit later. But the blue light is going to be for PlayStation 3, where you can use other controllers. The red light's going to be for the Nintendo Switch, and the green light's going to be for PC input. So depending on what you're using, that's what it's going to be, the connections you're going to use for it. You have one tiny little button here at the very top if you might want to have nails or something to push in if you don't have nails. You have your USB that you'll plug in from your controllers here. And then you'll have the USB that'll actually connect to the Nintendo Switch. So I do have the Switch running in the background, and we're going to be using that right up here in the top left for our tests and everything. We don't have any controllers connected to it at the moment. So let's give this a try. So I'm going to actually put this right here, and when I plug this in, I did have it right the first time. You are going to see a red light. Now this little red light here will actually show a different option for us. Now this little red light is going to be blinking. It does come in the Nintendo Switch syncing ability. So let's go ahead and start with a couple of these, and before I do that, I do want to go over a tiny little bit of historical lesson for you. So the old USB mini cables were the kind of square rectangular type cord, and then you have the micro USBs that are the current type of cords. So the older controllers, like your PS3 controller and your Wii U controller, are going to be the type of the mini cable for that. The newer ones, like your Xbox One and PlayStation 4, are going to be micro, so we'll use that. The other thing to keep in mind in this entire connection that you're dealing with is when you're dealing with the controllers, if you do want to go full wireless, it does have to have the Bluetooth inside of it. So the older Xbox One controllers are not Bluetooth compatible. That's only the newer ones. And then you do have the ability to have the PlayStation 4, the Wii U, and the PlayStation 3 controllers do have Bluetooth inside of them. So you'll be able to go wired and wireless. So let's go ahead and give this a try first and see how this works. So let's try the PlayStation 3, and then we'll try the Wii U, and then we'll move on to the Xbox One controller. So you're going to plug this in at the top, and we're simply going to get the end of the cord. And with that being said, we're going to plug this in right here. You'll see that it is still blinking. Make sure that holds on for stability. And you'll see the blinking changes slightly if you can. And right away, you'll see that I do have ability to use the controller in any way you want to use it. If I forgot, oops, if you're using Nintendo, this is going to be your other button. Usually the A button shows up here, but since we're on Sony, I'll simply launch it. And everything seems to work pretty good and pretty snappy. Now let's get into Mario Kart here. You'll see that we are launching this. I'm using the PlayStation 3 button the entire time. I'm not having to mess with anything Nintendo-based anywhere. And let's launch it here. I'm just going to launch any cup. Played too much of this back in the Wii U days, so we don't need to see too much of it. Okay, so here we go at the start of the race. Let's see how this works. So there is mappings if you want to see the buttons, but if you just simply think about it in the sense of the Nintendo controller versus the PlayStation controller, it is the same, and I am not getting any lag whatsoever as I use this. No input lag coming from the controller because I'm not using a Nintendo controller. It is working really, really well, actually. I'm kind of impressed. So I'm going to hold the item. Yep, holding item works. Barely missed him. Okay, so let me put this in pause. And as far as buttons go, I can move up and down here. If I hit the PlayStation button, it does take me to the menu back here. I'm going to disconnect this to make sure it does work in wireless mode. So it does turn off, but you can turn it right back on, and I'm back to racing. I am completely wireless now. You can go to your couch if you were close by, however long your cable is, etc. So it works pretty well. Okay, let me go ahead and hit the start menu, and we're going to try to sync a different controller. So let me move this out of the way. And let's try the Wii U controller. So the Wii U controller, we're going to want to reset this. You're going to hit this little button here. And I'm going to make this to syncing. Okay, it's ready to be synced. Let me plug this in right here. Charging, let's hit a button. And it's going to take a second to sync. There we go. It did sync, and the light turned on here at the bottom. I did hit the sync button back here to sync. I'm not sure if that did it or not, but let's see if this works. Oh boy, I love this controller. So it's working really, really well. Now, in all honesty, I don't know if this would actually run wirelessly because I have not had this thing charged. But we will give it a try in just a second. Let me see if I can get it together. Okay, let me hit the plus button, which will put us into pause. Let me disconnect. It is still turned on, so this one did not turn off like the Sony one did, but does it still work? Yes, it does. Okay, so great. The Wii U controller is working just fine. It is a close tie for me in which controllers I like more between the Wii U Pro controller and the Switch Pro controller. It's very close as to which one I like more. As a matter of fact, I may like this one more now that I play more of it, so maybe I'll try Zelda or Mario Odyssey whenever that comes out to see if it compares. Okay, let me hit pause. Let me turn this off. Tell you what, let me just move it out of the way like I did with the Sony one. And I'm going to try the PlayStation 4 controller now. Let's see if this is as easy. So first thing we need to do is we're going to click this button here to put it back into a sync We're going to disconnect this cable, hopefully not disconnecting it all together. Remember, we got to use micro USB now. And let's plug this in right here into micro. Okay, no problem there. And I am going to plug into the top. What if this is as easy as the PlayStation 3? Oh, wow. Okay, look how easy that was. This one had no syncing, no nothing. The light is already turned on. Let's make sure this works. And it does. Wow, okay, working really smooth. No problems, no lag. Button works just fine. Wow, it's really weird going from a Nintendo controller to a Sony and seeing the difference in how Nintendo kind of makes their controller a little nicer when it comes to ergonomics on it. So, okay, let me hit the start button. It works pretty well. Obviously, you're not going to have any touch things, but let me disconnect this and see what happens. Okay, controller does turn off. Let me hit the button. Are we back on? Yes, we are. Okay, so we are back on. Looks like there was a slight delay there as to what was going on. But we are once again wireless. We are full Bluetooth right now, running through on the Nintendo Switch. So very, very nice. Okay, let me disconnect this. Let me put this away as far as everything. Everything works really fine here. Let me put this back into a sync mode. And when I click the sync mode here, you can't see it too well, but the light blinks, but this turns off. So that's actually kind of nice. It tells you that it's turning off whatever the sync is. And for our last controller to try, I do have the Halo Master Chief controller. Let me try that. This one had a better connection at the top than my black one did. So let me plug this one here simply at the top. Okay, it vibrated right away. Is it working? Wow. Okay, it's working already. Didn't have to do anything special whatsoever. Now, once again, as I did mention, the older Xbox One controllers, and by older I mean by maybe 6 months to a year old, when the Slim came out, the Bluetooth is now a standard for the new controllers, and it will continue to be. So if you have an older Xbox One controller, it should not work. It's not going to give you the wireless feature on it. So let me actually check that. We finished the end of the race. That actually doesn't make it very easy for us. Okay, so let's try disconnecting this and see what happens. So as we did mention, we are not expecting this to actually work. So let me try to simply remove. Controller turns off. It is now looking for connection somewhere. So that is what we are fully expecting. As I did mention, these are going to cause problems since they are not Bluetooth. The newer Xbox One controllers and the custom ones that are coming out are full Bluetooth. Now if I plug this right back in, if I can find it, and here we go. It does connect right back up. If you notice, the Mario's now moving again with no problems. Button stops, everything's good to go. Okay, so that's going to kind of do it for us on the Switch controllers that are working with the Switch that are not designed for the Switch. Now there are some caveats to this. What are the main caveats? The main caveats is if Nintendo patches this whole item will not work. I don't see that happening. I don't really know if Nintendo has that much as far as caring for it, but it could be an issue if they do patch it and it will not work anymore. Other good things about this is that this will work for the PlayStation 3. So if you have a PlayStation 3 and you want to use your Xbox One controller, or let's switch the tables. If you want to use the Pro controller on the PlayStation 3, you can plug this and use the Nintendo controllers on there, or Xbox One controllers. And then you do have the ability, and let me unplug this and show you the colors again, to use this on PC with the controllers that you see. So if you are trying to connect, you're going to be using the green button for PC. If you're going to be using the PlayStation 3, it is blue. And Switch is red, and usually when this comes out, I've seen everybody that has bought one of these, and myself even, it comes in Switch mode. You can simply change it, once again, by the button on the top. It works really great. I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. The one other negative, and I guess you could call it a caveat, is this only works for one controller. You can't have this one item and then use all 4 controllers and have a 4-player Switch mode game going on. It's only for one. So technically, I guess if you really want to have a 4-player with all these controllers, you're going to need 4 of these, and that's going to be roughly about $80 to $100 depending on what you're paying. It might be worth it to you if you just despise the Nintendo controllers, but I tend to love the Nintendo controller. So, great piece, folks. Once again, this was on Amazon for about $25. One other thing to keep in mind is that if you're going to be taking this portable, and when I mean taking this, the Switch, you are going to need an adapter that'll actually play from the Type-C USB to this type of USB. So, Keep that in mind if you're taking it for the road. If you're taking it in dock, you don't need any other adapters, but this seems to work really great. It is the Magic NS adapter, so you'll be able to find this. I do recommend it, and hopefully you find it and enjoy it as much as we did. Thanks for watching.